I'll say that there were probably a couple of things that I would edit out.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. The fresh kills?
No. I'm talking about my episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it on properly?
It's on the front.
Do you adjust? You want to do it surround?
Well, that depends. You want to talk on this as well?
I want to capture the environment today. So yeah, you can have it surround. It's gonna still capture it, right?
Yeah. So let's do that. Yeah, we're gonna watch all of them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I want to go through all of them and make notes of what I would want to add to the reel.
You want to use your computer?
I would rather you use it.
We can go to that after.
You make the show to come out, so I want to make sure you can use the computer. Gabe, in your case, I would suggest let's get to working on the video.
Yeah.
Just because I want to make sure that the time is used most
pretty
efficiently, like maximize as much
Absolutely.
as possible. You know, if we make solid progress today, then we can be like, oh yeah, let's read some of that lines.
Absolutely.
I mean, so Cindy, at this point, we're just gonna be watching other videos.
Yeah.
If that's cool.
That's okay.
Would you want the videos to be on it? Because then otherwise we're probably just gonna cut. Okay. Well, we are at the unit that
Yes.
will probably be brought up elsewhere.
Yes.
In this.
Yes.
Yeah.
The unit.
Yeah, the unit.
Studio.
I have a name for it. I call it undisclosed because it is currently an undisclosed location.
Oh, I like that.
I give the address freely, but I only give it ever to people who have needed to hear it.
I like
So
that.
it is otherwise a space that I occupy in which no one else knows about. And I quite like that idea.
Yeah.
Because if we think about space usage, then we can put ourselves in a place that we want to be in. And that might just mean, well, you can have it, but you have to go 18 floors up in a tall building.
Yeah.
To have that space, it's worth the elevator trip or the stair climb if
Right.
people are feeling brave.
Yes.
So right now this is as close to the ideal space that I enjoy being in.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great space.
Yeah.
You've been here many times?
I have. Yeah, we've recorded a few episodes here at the studio.
Yeah.
Undisclosed.
In its current state, it's still undergoing changes.
Yeah.
And at some point I'm looking for it to stable out so that I have a full sense of what the space is and is capable of. And then at that point I look forward to trying to create more company. People who are working, who are trying to get ahead, people who are looking to move forward with their lives. I am drawn to those people, and I think it is wise to bring those people together. So that's what one aim
here.
Yeah, that's one aim for the space.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. A
Yeah.
driving force.
Yeah. Now I have 2 people here with me this time. I would like to have no more than 6, but I also want to make sure that it's always worth people's time.
Yeah.
And it is.
So
You know, here's an idea. I don't know if you touched on it, but you should have a name for the space. Do you have a name for the space? You know, people.
okay, can I tell you something?
I know I'm gonna go with Joe's spot.
Joe's
Hot Box. For one, right?
Mm.
That's probably trademarked though.
Mhm.
I mean, how many Joes are not out there, right? That have probably thought about that name.
Joe's spot.
Well,
Joe's
what's
spot.
going to end up happening
The
is
J
that
spot?
people are on. with,
That's actually not bad.
I like that one, the J,
J
spot. It does exist. You just gotta look for it. 350 Western.
That's perfect.
That's good.
That is actually perfect.
Yeah.
The J spot.
The J spot.
Well, what I think it's going to come down to is if anybody who's aware of the space is aware of it because of me, then everyone's just going to say, well, it's Joe's space.
Yeah.
It's not my house, it's not my apartment,
Yeah.
it's my space.
Yeah.
So when we think of it that way, it's like this is the space that I offer people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it the studio. I don't know. It makes me feel
You can do that.
fancy.
Well, it's many things, right? It's
Mhm.
multifaceted. It's a studio, it's
That's
a
true.
stage, it's a hangout spot.
Really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we're sitting on couches right now.
Yes. How do you guys know each other?
He auditioned for the comedy program.
Ah.
Yes, you remember.
Yeah, and I, on occasion, assist with the audition process by guiding the would-be students or want-to-be students through the audition process. And it's fun. It's a chance to meet with some people who are looking to get into the industry, so you never know who you'll run into. And with that general open-minded, Gabe was somebody who continued to reach out to me. And
Kept pestering, I wouldn't stop texting.
yeah. Well,
Like, who is this again? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just something about your personality that lets
that
you
must- yeah.
check in on people,
Uh-huh.
even if you're just happy to check in on people. Hey, I was thinking about you, and it made me smile. You're
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
Joseph.
Oh, really?
That-
That's the
that-
kind of messages you send?
I think that must have been it, right? It got your attention, like.
That's so nice.
Because there's definitely been a point where I had missed like 2 messages in a row.
From me?
Like I would get on
From this
Facebook
guy,
and be
yeah.
like, "Hey Joe, how's it going? 2013."
Yeah.
Hey Joe, how have things been? 2016.
40, yeah. Every year,
Yeah.
like on the anniversary.
Yeah.
Jeez, Joe, answer my calls.
I started answering back to him more and more because I realized, this guy's sticking around. And what's he up to? Well, now he's acting. He's got a page full of different stuff that he's appeared in. People seem to like him. So
That's
I think
awesome.
I think he's got a lot of talent.
Thank you.
And I'm working on his demo reel today, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Be like, I put this together. Gabe can probably find a pretty good spot somewhere.
Yes, let's hope. Let's
That's
hope.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Joe.
Thank you.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, if I can do this well, then I can show people your demo reel and be
Yes,
like, I can do
I
other
look
people's
forward
demo
to it,
reels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me demonstrate a demo reel.
Mm.
This is how we do it.
Okay. This is the first time that I'm going to try to articulate this, but I feel like I have a lot of power, but a lot of that is just power to do things that aren't always good.
Why are you saying this right now?
That's the thought that came to my head.
Oh.
Well,
and I'm trying to decide how do I
how do you use that?
how do I elaborate on that? What do I mean when I say that?
Is there an app for that? Can we
No.
find out?
Are you afraid of the power?
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Mm-hmm. Consequences.
of the
things
both
can
sides
happen.
of it.
Yep. Yeah.
Or the one side of it?
Different outcomes.
Yeah.
The bad,
Yeah.
dark side?
Train falls off the track, kind of thing.
Are you saying you're a Terminator?
Well, remember what I was saying about bad power? No, I.
Should
No,
I
I
come with you if I
wouldn't.
want to die?
I'm not
Should I
an
come with
I'm
you?
not an agent for destruction. Like I want people to get along. I don't want to see people get hurt.
I see you as a good spirit. Honestly, I can't see anything else.
Donald Trump has the experience more closer to being an American.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a businessman. He's tried to
definitely
start
has that.
things.
Yep.
He's failed in a lot of cases, and it's very clear cut. Like you can look into it. He has failed marriages,
Mm-hmm.
but he's interacted with the American public in a much more open capacity and on different levels. He's interacted with people on the working floor, with people in management, with people in government as well,
Mhm.
and in other corporations. And what people like who don't know about the Donald Trump is that the people in the higher echelon hate his guts. Other rich people don't even like him because he's so competitive and he stands for
And
what
I
he believes
respect
in.
that. I honestly do. He's ballsy. He's,
Yeah, he believes in some stuff that I disagree with. Like, if I'm not mistaken, they still have a pretty strong stance against abortion, and I'm like, oh, that
Abortion?
that really puts the hamper on me ever wanting to come down there because
Right.
that's a big one. But other than that, like, I think if everything that these politicians say is true as to what they're going to do, he is actually looking out for America. But I think he has the capability to do good things for America in the same way I believe that Rob Ford had the capability to do good things for Toronto.
Yeah.
But people had to understand that he's got to play it his way, and the people voted for that, and he
Stop
became
that
mayor. That needed
Grady
to mean
vote.
that needed to mean something. He had the majority vote. He should have had the ability to make majority decisions, and he couldn't do it. So
And he had those like personal issues, his personal demons as well. That kind of got in the way.
So imagine an American state, it could turn into a completely crazy thing where Donald Trump ends up president, but it's still a primarily Democratic caucus. So
Mhm.
what it ends up being is 48 Democrats, Texas,
Yeah.
which supports Trump. And Trump is president, and he's trying to be like, all right, I want to get more boats out. I want to start securing the borders. And everyone's like, we can't do that, Trump. And he just comes into work every day with a bunch of ideas, and all the Democrats would be like, no, Trump, we don't have the money for that. We can't do it. All right, fine, but the hookers are going to be on me, okay? No, Mr. Trump, we can't. For the last time, I don't care if they
That's
just
President
I don't
Trump.
care if they just read to you, okay? You can't bring him in here. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go on a break and I'm gonna go onto my YouTube channel. I don't know if I have the best Trump. I think mine turns into a New Yorker, but
Where would you move in the States, Joseph? Have you thought about it?
I haven't decided.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes to political lining, I'll probably go right to Texas. Go for the largest
Wow.
culture shock that I can get my hands on.
Everything is bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Just wear like bigger briefs.
I think honestly, I'm more attracted to going to the United States as more of a downgrade than an upgrade. Like, you know, if I really feel like I've accomplished a lot,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and I can kind of have more of a stay-at-home existence,
Oh.
and I can continue to do most of my work remotely anyways. So, I know I could probably find work down there pretty easily too.
Absolutely.
With my skill set, I would definitely marry an American. I think at my age, one of my better strategies at this point is to look for a single mother whose first man walked out. Honestly, at this point.
I mean, within the age range, you might meet more single mothers.
Yeah.
You know,
Like-
I don't even hate that idea, to be
18-year-olds
honest.
maybe?
I
Like,
know.
like being around a kid is pretty cool. Being
Yeah.
able to be a good influence.
Yeah.
And I would like raising a kid, so it wouldn't even be a bad idea to practice raising one that's not even
Right.
fucking mine.
That's not even fucking much.
It's not too bad. I can have my own now. I have experience. I think what I hope science can one day do for us, or for me, is to try and genetically create a human that's born like when they're 10 years old. Come out like, you know, all like 5 feet already, and they're like very advanced, they're very
You know
smart.
what? There's a movie like that.
Well,
Yeah.
it needs to exit the womb, and then it just needs to go into incubation. I guess
Like
in the
an
end, I want
antichrist.
to know that my child
Pretty
is going to
much.
come out its best possible self. If that's limited because, you know, it's my kid, so be it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any other videos we got to do?
Absolutely.
Okay. I gotta get back. You turned it on. You turned on the recorder.
How do you feel about it? Is it okay?
It's fine. Of course
Do you
it's
feel
fine.
like you ever need a break from this kind of world?
I'm barely the one
Oh.
on the
I
microphone.
know. Oh, that's true.
Like I'm usually the.
do you want to be more on the microphone?
Well, I want to do my own show. Joseph Ianni does a podcast on occasion. That's the name of the show.
I love it.
Yeah.
You should totally do it.
And the first guest.
On occasion. I like that.
Yeah, and the first guest is Joseph Ianni. So
Interviewing
it's gonna be
himself, really?
me interviewing myself. It's only gonna work in audio because I have to
Yeah.
physically get up, go to the other seat, and then I actually know another Joseph Ianni. So in the second episode, I'm just gonna try to get him. It's just like a hobby project, I guess.
You probably get to know yourself better.
Oh, this is such a good salad.
Looks good.
It reminds me of the ashram.
Yeah, it's very nice. I want to join a cult right now. Not that that was a cult. Was it?
A lot of people called it a cult. But what is cult?
Good question. Because where does a cult stop being a cult and start being mainstream?
And also, it's really short for the word culture. So
It is. And
True.
also, isn't everything kind of a cult?
yeah.
Aren't restrictions placed on us?
Hipsters are cults. Oh, yeah, the hipster coloring book.
And it had pictures of socks and stuff you can color, and a coloring book for hipsters at U of T. How much was it? Like $40?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of infantilized product now for people in university. Anytime somebody gets triggered, and I'm using air quotes for the listeners, there's a safe space now that they've run to, and it's got like videos of dogs and coloring books and little puzzles. Like I thought I was sensitive, but like I don't run screaming every time someone offends me. Just 1 in every 10.
If I charge my phone in here, does it take the juice out of the computer?
It accelerates the drainage of this because
Does
it's
it? Okay.
converting more energy. But feel free. I mean, I have the
Feel
AC.
free to drain my energy. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to a sweat lodge.
A healing
I feel like
circle.
Joseph should come to the sweat lodge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Does that mean, are we naked in the sweat lodge? I don't know how I feel about
I
that.
think you have to be like down to a towel.
No, unless it's run by white people. New age white people.
Okay,
They
wait,
I don't mean
unless-
to be sounding like
No,
racist,
no.
but it's just...
No. It's new age white people. Don't worry, I'm one of them. Don't worry. Am I? I'm not really.
You're
new
not
age.
really white.
Out. Joseph, do you consider yourself white as an
Yes.
Italian person? You do?
Yeah. She's
Olive?
not wrong.
Olive? I know.
I mean, first of all, using the term white on anybody is a generalization.
It is very generalizing.
So when we get into talking about generalizations, like, okay, just call me white. I mean, I don't care.
Whitey?
If it's not between like white, brown,
Yeah,
black.
no,
just-
I was referring to, the black part of you.
Oh, my ass. When I was a baby, my mom took me to the hospital because I had like a black ass. Like my ass was black. There's a black mark on my ass. She took me to the hospital, and they thought that she maybe beat me or something, but it was like a medical condition that maybe that's it might be a part of it.
Now, someone describes that to me like in their 30s, I'm like, so you were just in the plot of like a 70s porn exploitation. Do you know why you're here today? No, 'cause baby, you got black ass.
So I bought a memory stick with a lot of memory, and the reason being, I just want you to put all of them because I want to get the Cindy show done too.
Right now, I'm moving everything that was in the assorted folder,
Okay.
and it's quite a bit.
Okay.
And then there's a folder called Episode 4, which are the jack-off sessions, and I already have those on mine.
Cool.
Episode 5, there's like Saturday morning, and then 3 and 4. Everything that you have given me is in this folder,
Yeah.
but there's not enough space on your
On this
USB
big.
drive.
Really?
Yeah.
Even on the big one?
Yeah. I actually drove a friend to kill himself in a dream. I told him, look, we're actually in a dream right now. You're just a construct based off my information of you. And he runs, like, he jumps through a wall. There's like a dry wall, and he just plummets down like 2 floors. And look down, he's just down on the ground. I'm like, all right, I'll see you later.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And he comes back like a minute later because it's a dream. You can do whatever you want. And I'm like, so how was that? And he says, brutal.
Your hair is so great. What product do you use?
Right now I'm using, it's in Shoppers Drug Mart. It's in these bottles that are shaped sort of like,
A
so it's like a
penis?
sulfate-free,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's more like a genie bottle, I would
A
say.
genie bottle, nice.
Not like an Aladdin genie bottle, but like a decanter or something.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
Ooh,
but
I love
the
decanters.
real trick is when you're showering.
Just the word, right?
Yeah, decanter.
There's no word that encompasses
Cold
rustic
water?
as
Are you
well
gonna
as
say
a
cold
decanter.
water?
Cold
Okay.
water, not
Upside
cold water.
down?
Do you feel like that about names? Any particular name?
Okay.
The entire
Games?
time.
Yeah.
Oh, name?
Yeah.
Like
when
a
you're
human
putting
name
your
that would be
product.
rustic?
Make us sound like extraterrestrial. You can change voices.
chipmunks.
Actually, one day I want you to totally transform one of my things to make me sound like a man the whole time. Can you do that? It's kind of a fantasy of mine. You know what would be a fun experiment? If you go around and you see someone and you're like, I wonder what that person's thinking about me. And you just go up to them and you say, listen, I noticed you looking over. I'm wondering if you meant this. Was I right or wrong? You know what I mean? Just go to people and try to see if you're right at guessing, like figuring them out.
Okay.
That might push some people away.
Okay.
Intrusive.
I would be somebody that likes being approached.
I don't know,
But I'm a very rare specimen, so let's not.
you're not the average Joe. Oh yeah, you're named Joe too. Oh my God, 2 Joes. There's 2 Joes.
Yeah, so Joes are the average. I saw Mark Emery on the news today.
Did you? Oh yeah. What's happening?
His store was one of the ones that got hit.
Mark Emery has a store?
I
I didn't know he has a store.
Did they arrest him?
I sent him an email just saying, is there a website you want to plug on the thing? But he didn't get back to me. Jesse and I did an interview with this woman that I met on the streetcar. She's from Saskatchewan, and a writer. I noticed her on the streetcar, and she was looking at the map, and she asked somebody, and then I heard her say, it's my first day in Toronto. But she was in Japan for a while, and she was in a freaking blues band in Japan. And I was like, oh my God, this person just keeps on blowing my mind.
She's tall.
And she's very
She's
tall.
Amazonian.
She's like, what did she say? That people, first because she talks with her hands,
I
and
love
people are
it
like,
that.
Huh?
I love that Amazonian.
I know, I would imagine. Amazonian
I can't imagine being a
redheads?
woman and hating being called that.
Really?
Yeah, if anybody thought of me as Amazonian, I'm like, hell yeah.
I don't know, Joseph, how you're gonna feel about this. Do you like using slightly cheesy effects once in a while? Not
Sure,
excessively.
yeah, just say what and where. Well, what if I don't know, Cindy like entered like a dream space, and then you were in that for the next few episodes, and then you left it. Like you can actually go start on one
I'm
episode.
gonna get really high for that. What?
that's
In a
what I'm-
dream state.
or-
This sounds like more of the Cindy show than the Strangers Week.
I guess so.
Maybe that's
I wasn't
the way-
thinking of either one. I was just thinking.
But so
for your-
what's happening in this dream state?
I
I'm
know,
not
I
even
don't know, I
grasping
don't
what
know.
you're talking about.
I don't know. I'm just using
Am I
that as an
actually
example.
dreaming and recording myself
Don't
sleeping?
worry about the actual dream aspect. My point is, you can start something in an episode,
Okay.
have it suddenly be a part of your show, keep that going to the next episode, and the next episode, the next episode, end it in another episode, and exit, and there's another sound effect.
Joseph, Joe, who are you tonight?
Joseph.
Okay, my question is, I don't know I'm gonna guess you know this band. You know the Doors, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you know People Are Strange?
I do. I know people are strange.
When you're strange, faces come out in the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange.
He was so beautiful.
He looks like Jesus, though.
With very dark eyes.
Mm-hmm.
A really drugged out Jesus.
Microphone for you?
You definitely want to put the karaoke on the podcast.
We don't have to. This
Okay,
doesn't have to be in
just
it.
a
There
little
might
bit
just be like a little bit of
Okay.
yodeling.
I'm actually like super nervous right now.
Aww.
This is a backing track.
Did I pick the wrong one?
Well, hey, you know what? Go back. I'll do it without the lyrics. Go back.
So you know the words.
I'm not 100% when the song starts.
Now the time has come. The music's between us. Though the night seems young. Reach up for the sunrise. Put your hands in to the big sky. You can touch the sunrise.
See, I was off.
Sunrise, put your hands in to the big sky. Fireball burns. We go round together as this planet turns into the light. Only change can bring.
Oh, shit, I fucked it up. Alright, well that's more than enough. When we said we were doing karaoke, I was prepared for the worst, which is doing it in public. I'm gonna,
In front of an audience?
if
we've
that's
never
what you
done
meant,
that. No,
but
no.
if that's what you meant, I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna
Wow.
fucking try to sing the fucking song.
We took Trucker to a private room.
Yes.
I actually haven't managed to do the show that I wanted to do. The show that I wanted to do was essentially a carbon copy of IGN's Game Scoop. And what they did there, they talked about the news in the gaming industry every week. And in addition to that, the people also knew each other, so they also talked about other things. And you got to like hearing them talk to each other because they could make each other laugh and they shared in jokes. They even got to doing listener mails. And you wanted to write to them because you got to hear from a group of them. And these guys, they were very funny, and I'm like, oh, that would be so much fun to get a bunch of my friends to sit around in a room and talk and just share laughter. That was the best thing. That's the thing that can really get somebody through the day, is to be able to listen to people and share in the joy that they're sharing in each other. I mean, podcasting is the easiest way to manufacture joy. Both of you, Cindy and Jesse, are here. They are supposed to be conducting an interview, but what they don't realize is that I am very good at podcasting, which is because I'm very good at talking. They haven't had a chance to actually say anything yet because I turned it on. I just wanted to get started, and also get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys want to ask? Now, keep in mind that the name of this episode is Joseph Ianni Storyteller. So, in case that wasn't obvious already.
It wasn't
Okay.
obvious.
Wasn't it Story Maker?
Was the story? Yes.
Story maker.
You're right. Okay.
Story
Okay.
Maker, one word.
Okay. I see what I did. There. We were actually in one of our host houses. I kept it non-specific in case it's confidential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a nod. There was a nod there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I'm just telling myself in the future not to cut out that pause because I want to acknowledge that's when the nod occurred. See, as I'm also the editor for this, which means that I can also make my job easier on me by communicating messages into the future. I think one thing that really characterizes people, say, raised in the 80s and the 90s is that's when you had television, that's when you had comics, you had an abundance of material to watch, and people wanted you to watch, and they wanted you to enjoy it. And a lot of people fell out of doing that because they felt discouraged, like they weren't going to make a living doing it. But you could. You could have always have become a journalist about it. You could have become a writer. You could have become a reviewer, a critic, a participant in the film in the process as well. So, a lot of people fell out of the thing that they loved, and a lot of that came from not necessarily like your mom and dad going like, be good, go to college and get your goddamn fucking G2, but because you just felt like no one in society would consider you, no one would take you seriously, no one would have anything for you if you didn't grow up, or if you didn't get with something. And I tried that several times because I trusted them, and I still do. I still respect their way, but every time I've tried, I've failed. I'm done failing, so I'm gonna do what I can succeed at instead. I made comics, but I never got good enough at drawing for myself. If I'm going to make something, I wanted it to look like the comics that I read and the shows that I watched. And I wasn't intimidated by them. I was just incapable of doing it because those involved many people, and I'm just one person. But I could make comics, and my drawing just didn't keep up with the way I could tell a story. The standards fell, and I still have a hard time finding an artist, because to find an artist who draws as well as I can storytell, I can't find someone to pay that amount of money. Animation was even harder than comics, but I wanted to make the cartoon more than I wanted to make the comics, so I started doing that. And I got a good result out of it. I actually met a number of cool people, one of whom I'm still in touch with today.
Are you sitting with one of them? I'm just joking. Joking.
You two come later chronologically. And then I did animation, and then I had to pick a college program. I saw that there was a school of comedy, so I said, okay, I'll take that. I'll see if I can get in, because I assumed that they had a criteria. And the criteria was we have to fill 80 seats a year, so we just want to make sure that you're not completely insane. And the process worked out pretty well, and I got a lot of insight from the program. I think a lot of people were hoping that they would get into it, get a career out of it after 2 years, but that they had no idea how much work that they would have to put in.
So how did you get into the school?
It was an audition process.
An audition process?
Yeah, you have to do improv comedy, you have to do sketch. Well, you have to perform a sketch that they hand you. You hand in some writing, you do some stand-up, and they're like, just be good at one of them, honestly. I'm making them sound like they're desperate, but they weren't. They were like, show us what you got. I mean, not everyone was destined to be a star. Some people were just destined to pull a chord. I prefer to be in the exact amount of control of my projects that I want to, and I encourage everyone to look at projects the same way. I really do. If you have like a bunch of people above you who all have a bunch of ideas, and those ideas have to get through, God, even if they are good ideas, the fact that you had to compromise past what you envisioned, it will make you question, was this worth doing in the first place? Because it might not have been. If it turns out to be a shell, or if it turns out to not have the spirit that you would have put into it, then yeah, something was wrongly made. Reality is nice, but reality just pisses me off. Honestly, when things happen, like funerals, emergencies, people who are still stupid enough to hurt each other, it really sucks. Because life can be a lot more positive than that. Life can be a lot more joyous than that. Life could be a lot more about competition, it could be more about storytelling, it could be more about sharing and art. And it can still even be about conflict. And one of my utopian ideas is screw getting rid of war, just regulate it. And there can be even a claim, like if people are willing to put up a prize for the war, and a country's willing to fight over it, you might end up getting two countries that are poor willing to fight over this resource that they could use. I think a lot of people are just hoping, like, man, I hope we end up having to go to war, like, out there in space. Like best case scenario, we come into contact with a bunch of other alien civilizations who we all generally agree with, and like we're in a really big fight. What we need are numbers, and we're like, all right, humans, we got 2 things we got to do. We got to get a bunch of soldiers, and we got to fuck. Condoms off, everybody.
With the aliens?
Well, the aliens need soldiers,
Uh-huh.
and the aliens are like, shit, we're like 50,000 strong, and that's a good lunar cycle. Who the you get 6 billion? Oh my god! I mean, I don't want to live in a perfect, peaceful society, because I think we do need to have confrontation and conflict in our lives in some way. It serves as an outlet, it serves as industry, it serves as an ability for someone to prove themselves in a capacity that they might not be able to do. I mean, a lot of war literature and war film is trying to depict the fact that these are people who excel in that environment, and when that environment is taken away from them, they feel more lost than when they were out there. So we never want to take away war, but I cannot stand for people who would ever hurt someone who's an unwilling participant, like hurting a person in a cafe. I mean, that's low.
When you approach the world, do you sort it out in a game, as we were talking about the other night? Game kind of setting?
I wish I could more often, but I don't. The hard part about doing that is that I wonder if I'm communicating the idea that I'm not taking it seriously. And yet, I'm often, the comment often directed towards me is that I'm probably taking things too seriously, or I'm too worried, or I'm too concerned.
Which is it?
It's true. Yeah, all those things are true.
Do you believe you can create your own reality?
I do believe that, but I also believe that it's possible for there to be a outside determination. As a person who writes characters, what I have trained myself to do is to focus on making sure their behavior and their actions and their thoughts are the actions they believed they were in control of, and the actions they believed that they were doing. It's kind of a given. Most writers do this, but it's good to maintain that responsibility, because these creations deserve to have acted on their accord as opposed to acting and saying the things that you wanted them to say. I figure the same thing is happening one step over. If we're creating these things, whatever it is that's creating us is giving us that same respect. I guess our experience is a little different, because unlike a cartoon character or a two-dimensional character, they only exist when we allow them to, whereas we exist because we have been allowed to exist. But don't characters in shows think that too? Don't they think that they've been around all day? They have all these memories, and they have all these things that they did and all these things that they're going to do?
If somebody's listening to this and they're like, I want to have a voice, I want to put my voice out there, what would you suggest?
Before you start, try to prepare as much as you can. Have an idea what episodes are going to be. Try to think about what song you want to use, how you want it to be presented. Try to think about tone. Try to imagine as much as possible, and then start doing it. You can put your show onto multiple platforms. You can involve yourself in communities. You can advertise. You can try to position yourself in a way that makes people even come to you. Some people even are so popular on their shows that people pay to do the show. And then do it for as long as you can do it. If you come to a stop, that's okay. Like, I've done a lot of things that have stopped. They've been put on pause, they've been put on back burner, and there have been a few things that I have unquestionably said I don't want to do anymore, and that I have just cut out. I think a lot of people are afraid of that, and I am too, but I don't care. I just do it anyways.
Hey Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? There, Jimi Hendrix.
That's going to be her song then. Joseph, are you ready to sing, or do you want to...
Whatever you want.
Love is fast to die.
He's channeling the karaoke gods right now. I think, Jesse, do you have microphone phobia?
I do.
I feel like it's like a scene from Clockwork Orange, Joseph, where you're sitting on the chair. Are we forcing you into this? We don't have your eyes pinned open, right?
No, I'm here on my own. that doesn't sound forced at all.